Good morning, day 3 of our 3 days through the book of Hosea. Right, I want to address Christian business people. Okay, now, why Christian? Because if you're not a born-again Christian, if you've not been born again by the Spirit of God, having put your faith in Jesus Christ as your Lord, then this does not apply to you. And why business people? Because there is a particular temptation that faces those of us who are entrepreneurial, who own our own businesses. And I want to address that today. First of all, let's read the closing words of Hosea in his prophecy to Israel. This is verses 8 and 9. Ephraim shall say, Ephraim being Israel, what have I to do any more with idols? I have heard and observed him. I am like a green cypress tree. Your fruit is found in me, says God. Your fruit is found in me. Who is wise? Let him understand these things. Who is prudent? Let him know them. For the ways of the Lord are right. The righteous walk in them, but transgressors stumble in them. So these last 4 chapters of Hosea that we read this morning, a couple of themes come out very strongly. God is obviously rebuking Israel for its sin. He is predicting the oncoming judgment of the Assyrians, which is about to fall on them. He says that their children will be killed, their women with children will be ripped open. A terrible calamity is coming. And yet, right throughout today's reading, we see the promises of God that He will not leave His people to be completely destroyed. He will have mercy on them in the end. God is determined to do you good, my friend. And I don't care how much you backslide. If you're a genuine born-again Christian, God will bring you back, and He will bring you back through much discipline and calamity. And that's part of the message I want to bring to you today. But He will bring you back. When God sets His covenant love, chesed is the Hebrew word. Covenant love means faithful love. It means love that He is bound by an oath to maintain towards you. That's the theme of Hosea. That's why he tells Hosea, go and marry a prostitute. Form the highest covenant human beings can enter with one another, the marriage covenant, which should be completely unbreakable, because that's what a covenant is. I want you to marry a prostitute, and I want you to feel what it feels like to be me, says God to Hosea. This theme of covenant love is pregnant and punctuating this whole book. Though there's coming judgment, yet I will never completely forsake you. In the end, you will say, as we just read now, what have I to do with idols anymore? You yourself will be brought to submission to me, and I will do you good. I mean, some of the greatest verses quoted by Paul in the New Testament about how God will destroy our final enemy, death. O death, I will be your plagues. O grave, I will be your destruction. And then Paul quotes that as a promise of the resurrection and of eternal physical life that we're going to enjoy. It comes from this very book. God is determined to do you good. But if you sin, He's going to do it through much discipline. Okay, now, why Christian business people? Because there is a particular temptation that you are going to face, and I want to raise it before you. I want to shine a spotlight onto it. And I want to urge you to consider where you may be falling foul of this. Right, this is chapter 12, verses 7 and 8. A cunning Canaanite or merchant, deceitful scales are in his hand. Deceitful scales are the tool of an unethical business person. He loves to oppress. And Ephraim said, surely I have become rich. I have found wealth for myself. In all my labors, they shall find in me no iniquity, that is sin. Okay, so here Ephraim, Israel, they were a very prosperous nation, as in fact are many of the Jews till today. They are a prudent people who are very good at trading and at business. And here Ephraim says, I have become wealthy. And yet, if somebody studies my business, they will not find any iniquity or sin in me. Whereas God has just said, a cunning Canaanite. He calls his own people Canaanites. They were the unbelievers who were in the land before God gave Israel the land. And he says, you're no better than a cunning Canaanite because deceitful scales are in your hand. Okay, here's what I want to challenge you with. As you are building your wealth as a business person, can you honestly say before God that everything you are doing in your business is clean? Would you study your heart today? Would you just stop for a moment and let your conscience speak to you? Is there anything that you are doing with your finances, with your tax affairs, with your creditors, with your payment or non-payment of bills, with your treatment of your staff, with your marketing materials and the promises that you make, with your production processes? Is there anything that you are doing that you know, if the Lord Jesus were to walk into your business and scrutinize what you do and look you in the eyes, you would genuinely be able to say, I would have a clean conscience before him? And if there is something that bothers your conscience this morning, my friend, please, can I encourage you, deal with it today. Do not wait for the sun to go down before dealing with it. Because I'm telling you now, my friend, if you're a born-again Christian, you are not going to get away with it. He will destroy all of the work of your hands, and you will end up living in a tent. If that's what it means for God to discipline you and bring you back to him, because he is determined to bring you back to him. So deal with it quickly, my friend. All right, God bless you, and I'll see you in our next book, which is the book of Joel. Cheers for now.